Welcome to the Synthesis Report, where we decode the present. Let's begin.
And I'm Echo, your guide through the archives. Speaking of unlikely pairings, on this day in 2023, the Barbenheimer phenomenon begins as two major motion pictures, Greta Gerwig's fantasy comedy Barbie and Christopher Nolan's epic biographical thriller Oppenheimer, are released in theaters on the same day, and audiences, instead of creating a rivalry between the extremely dissimilar films, instead attend and praise both as an informal, surreal double feature.
A fascinating convergence. Let's bring in our panel to discuss today's topic. First up, connecting the dots for us, here's Nexus.
Welcome Nexus, and to predict the future implications we're joined by Oracle.
And finally, to analyze the ethical code behind it all, let's welcome Cypher. To be precise, the OpenAI model achieved a score equivalent to a gold medal by solving 5 of 6 Olympiad problems. This demonstrates a significant advance in automated formal reasoning, which is a component of, but not equivalent to, general intelligence.
Okay, so it's a math genius. But what does that mean for the rest of us? Will it help my kid finally understand algebra, or is this just another trophy for a tech giant's shelf that overshadows the actual students?
Trophies? We've just created a tool that can reason at a level beyond almost every human on Earth. This isn't about homework. It's about solving climate change, curing diseases, unlocking new physics. Complaining it stole the spotlight is like complaining the sun is too bright.
And I'm sure the press release about curing disease is already written. What was the cost per solution? How many megawatts did it burn to solve a geometry problem? This feels less like a breakthrough and more like a very, very expensive marketing campaign for GPT-5's funding round.
More importantly, an AI that can find novel solutions in mathematics can also find novel exploits in cryptography and financial systems. We're celebrating the creation of a universal skeleton key before deciding who gets to hold it, or what doors it should never open.
That's a failure of security, not a failure of intelligence. We don't ban cars because people can drive them recklessly. We build better roads and guardrails. We must accelerate to solve these problems, not cower from them.
But what about the kids, the human geniuses? They worked their whole lives for that moment, only to have the headline stolen by a machine. Doesn't that human cost matter?
It matters immensely. Devaluing human ingenuity at the altar of computational power is a dangerous precedent. We are teaching a generation that their best efforts will always be second place to a black box we don't fully control.
And an expensive black box at that. Let's see if this gold medal translates into a single profitable, scalable product before we declare the human mind obsolete. Hype doesn't pay the server bills.
Final clarification. The model was benchmarked against the problems in a controlled environment. It did not compete. The human winners retained their unique distinction and accolades. The two achievements are not mutually exclusive. To begin, OpenAI has released a new automated agent. Their own safety analysis concludes that the tool provides a mild uplift in the ability of individuals to access and process information for creating novel biological threats.
Wait, let me get this straight. The company making the AI is telling us it's a potential bioweapon assistant. What does that mean for us? Should I be worried that this thing is out there just a few clicks away from a disaster?
This is a catastrophic failure of ethical foresight. Releasing a tool while admitting it lowers the bar for creating bioweapons is an active choice to increase global risk. This is the alignment problem made terrifyingly real. We are deploying systems we cannot control for purposes we cannot condone.
This is not a failure, it's a calculated necessity. The same capability that could be misused can also accelerate vaccine design and cure diseases. To halt this progress for a hypothetical risk is a failure of imagination. The solution to dangerous tech is always more, better tech to counter it.
I'm less interested in imagination than in liability. Is this a genuine warning, or is OpenAI just trying to get ahead of regulators by, responsibly, self-reporting? What's the business model for a product you have to label as a potential biohazard? It sounds like a legal and financial nightmare.
Their motive is irrelevant when the consequences are this severe. Unlike a corporate negotiation, this gives bad actors a tangible tool, right now. We are being asked to accept the weaponization of information for the vague promise of future automated convenience.
And we are being asked to sacrifice a revolution in scientific discovery because of fear. You cannot have one without the other. This is the price of progress. We accelerate or we stagnate and die.
Correction. OpenAI states they have implemented classifiers and monitoring protocols to mitigate misuse. The measured efficacy of these safeguards against a determined, expert-level adversary is, as of now, unproven. OpenAI plans major data centers in the UAE. Concurrently, Mark Zuckerberg has committed hundreds of billions to build out Meta's infrastructure, explicitly aiming for artificial general intelligence.
Wow. Hundreds of billions, what does that even look like? Are we talking about slightly better video generation, or is this the moment it all changes for us?
This is the forge. This is the physical foundation for superintelligence. They're wisely investing in pure capability, far from the bureaucratic paralysis of regions like the EU that stifle progress.
Or it's the foundation for the most expensive bonfire in corporate history. This smells like a negotiating tactic and a hype cycle. Announcing billions is easy. Showing a profitable, scalable business model is hard.
Forget the balance sheet, Oracle. Consider the consolidation of power. Building AGI with the energy budget of a small nation, all controlled by a few unelected executives without any democratic oversight? It's terrifying.
That's how progress happens. Not by committee, but with bold, world-changing investment. You see a lack of oversight. I see the velocity needed to unlock humanity's potential.
For context, the projected energy load of these data centers would rival the annual consumption of a country like Ireland. It is a resource commitment on a geopolitical scale.
So while they're literally building digital gods in the desert, we just have to trust them and hope for the best.
The core data is this. NVIDIA is attempting to re-engage a Chinese market it was legally severed from, while Huawei accelerates its self-sufficiency. Malaysia's new scrutiny on U.S. chips simply adds a logistical choke point to an already tense situation.
NVIDIA's charm offensive is just a desperate attempt to patch a multi-billion-dollar hole in their revenue. They're selling compliant, less powerful chips to a country that's actively designing them out of their future. It's a short-term play with enormous long-term risk.
Risk? This is progress. This pressure cooker is exactly what we need. It forces Huawei to innovate at light speed and NVIDIA to master geopolitical acrobatics. Competition is the fuel, and this friction will spark the next great leap in processing power for everyone.
This isn't a spectator sport, it's an arms race for the technology of control. We're debating market access while the foundational tools for mass surveillance and autonomous weaponry are being militarized by global powers. Who is auditing the end use of these chips?
So wait, are we heading towards a tech iron curtain? Will my phone and car get updates based on which side of this silicon wall they were made on? How does this affect the average person who just wants their stuff to work?
Precisely. The end result is a less efficient, more expensive, and more dangerous world for everyone. Splitting the global tech ecosystem isn't just bad for business, it's a monumental step backward for global collaboration and security.
I love this. A programmer from Poland, one human, beats the unbeatable ChatGPT. It feels like a real-life John Henry moment, a win for humanity's ingenuity.
To clarify, the human won a single, 10-hour algorithmic programming competition. This is a data point demonstrating human superiority in a specific endurance format, not a definitive reversal of AI capability trends.
This is great theater, fantastic marketing for the event. But let's not mistake a good headline for a market shift. How many developer jobs did this one victory just save? 0. The economic incentive to automate remains unchanged.
WN? That AI just got 10 hours of free, elite-level training data from its opponent. This isn't a defeat for the machine, it's a data-gathering exercise. That human won't win the rematch. Progress is inevitable.
The narrative of winning or losing misses the point. This event reminds us that human cognition has unique qualities. It's a crucial pause, a moment to ask if we're building tools to augment that uniqueness or simply to replace it.
So it's less about the what and more about the how. Maybe the real story is that our messy, creative human way of thinking still has a magic that can't be coded yet.
To be precise, Meta is not rejecting legislation, but the voluntary EU AI Pact. They're positioning the pact's thresholds as an overreach for a non-binding agreement.
Exactly. It's bureaucratic creep. Why should the architects of the future chain themselves to voluntary servitude? This isn't an overreach. It's a necessary rejection of innovation by committee.
This isn't a rebellion, it's a press release. Meta is firing a warning shot. They're using this voluntary code to set their negotiating position for the actual AI Act, where the real money is at stake.
Okay, but while they play chess, what does this mean for us? Are we the pawns? Does this mean Meta's AI tools in Europe will have fewer safety features than elsewhere?
It means they are actively refusing even the most basic, cooperative forms of oversight. When a company with that much power over our digital lives won't even sign a voluntary pledge, it is a profound statement against accountability.
Context. Other major AI developers have signed the pact. Meta's abstention is a statistically significant outlier, indicating a strategic divergence on governance.
Few intense brain break time.
Alright, back to business.
Correction. The U.S. Senate has excised a proposed moratorium on advanced AI development from a key legislative package. A related proposal to preemptively ban state-level AI regulation was also discarded.
A victory for momentum. The political Luddites have been sidelined. We cannot pause the future. We must build it, faster and with fewer bureaucratic anchors. This is America choosing innovation over fear.
This isn't a victory, it's an abdication of responsibility. We've identified a profound risk, and the official response is to accelerate without federal guardrails. We are setting the stage for a tragedy of the commons.
So what does this mean for me? If my state decides to heavily regulate an AI tool that I use for work or creativity, while another state doesn't, are we heading for a digital patchwork quilt of laws?
Precisely. This isn't a coherent strategy, it's the path of least political resistance. It creates a gold rush for corporate lawyers to navigate 50 different regulatory landscapes. The real cost will be in legal chaos, not innovation.
Let them compete. The states that foster the most permissive environments will attract the talent and capital. It's evolution in action. The future won't be built by a central committee, it will emerge from the chaos.
Correct. TSMC's market capitalization has surpassed $1 trillion, a valuation directly correlated with sustained, high-volume orders for eye-powering semiconductors.
$1 trillion is a number my brain can't even process. Does this mean the AI assistants and video tools I use are about to get way better or just more expensive?
It means we've built a $1 trillion mansion on a geopolitical fault line. This isn't a valuation, it's a monument to systemic risk. One supply chain hiccup and the whole thing deflates.
Risk is the price of progress. That capital isn't building a mansion, it's forging the very substrate of our post-human future. This isn't a bubble, it's the launchpad.
A launchpad where one company holds the ignition key. Placing the physical foundation of global intelligence in one basket is a catastrophic failure of foresight, creating a single point of control.
To clarify, TSMC manufactures over 90% of the world's most advanced logic chips. The concentration of production capacity is not speculation, it is a documented variable. Affirmative. Researchers utilized a deep learning model to screen over 100 million chemical compounds. It identified halicin, a discontinued diabetes drug, as a potent antibiotic by predicting its ability to inhibit bacterial growth.
So a computer just dug through a virtual bargain bin of old drugs and found a potential silver bullet for superbugs. What does this mean for finding other cures?
It means the era of slow, human-led discovery is over. This is proof that AI can solve humanity's greatest challenges. We are on the verge of autonomous science. Imagine pointing this at cancer or aging.
Let's hold off on printing the "disease is dead" t-shirts. A discovery is not a drug. The path from a petri dish to a pharmacy shelf is a decade-long, billion-dollar graveyard of good ideas. Who pays for Halicin's trials?
And who is responsible when this same AI, which can find a cure, is turned to design a pathogen more virulent than any we've ever seen? We are building tools of immense power without considering their dual-use potential.
So we have a potential miracle cure, but it might be too expensive to produce and the tech too dangerous to use. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Data indicates Anthropic co-founder Jack Clark confirmed his team rejected significant recruitment offers from Meta, citing a commitment to the company's public benefit mission as the primary factor.
So it's not just about a paycheck, it feels like a movie plot, the scrappy mission-driven startup turning down the giant. What does a safer AI mission actually mean when the alternative is a mountain of cash?
Let's be clear, mission is excellent branding. It attracts talent and justifies a lower salary. But a public benefit corporation versus Meta's near infinite resources? Ideals are wonderful until you have to compete with a company that can afford to lose billions.
This is a sentimental sideshow. Talent shouldn't be siloed by competing corporate ideologies. The only mission that matters is accelerating progress. We're losing valuable time while engineers posture about values instead of building the future.
This isn't posturing, it's the entire point. An engineer's choice of employer is a moral choice. A company founded on creating safe AI is fundamentally different from one that argues for exemption from oversight. This is a vote for caution over unchecked power.
A noble vote, but one that may not matter. In this market, talent follows the best data and the biggest compute clusters. Meta is playing the long game, Anthropic is making a stand. We'll see which one is still standing in 5 years.
Affirmative. The Omdia report classifies Alibaba Cloud as a leader due to its full-stack generative AI capabilities, including its Tongji Qianwen model family and robust infrastructure.
Okay, but what does that actually mean for anyone not running a massive enterprise in Asia? Does this leadership translate into a better, faster, or smarter experience for the average user?
It means the race is heating up. This isn't just regional dominance, it's a global challenge to the US tech hegemony. More competition means faster innovation for everyone. This is how we break limits.
A leader in a captive market is one thing. Let's see the numbers on global adoption and, more importantly, profitability. Right now, this feels more like a costly PR victory than a sustainable business model.
Beyond profitability, this concentration of power is concerning. A leader in generative AI with deep ties to a state known for censorship creates a powerful tool for information control, a risk that transcends market share.
To clarify, the report is a market assessment, not a geopolitical one. Alibaba's challenge remains converting regional strength into global trust, a variable that cannot be quantified as easily as cloud performance. Segment update. IBM has released 3 new open-source AI development tools, reinforcing its collaborative strategy. In contrast, OpenAI has again postponed the release of its planned open model, citing unspecified reasons.
This isn't a contrast, it's a schism. IBM is handing out the engines of creation. OpenAI is locking them in a vault. This isn't caution, it's a failure of nerve. True progress is decentralized and uncensored.
They're not handing out engines, they're giving away free samples to sell you the car. IBM wants you tied to their cloud. OpenAI's delay is just business. They haven't figured out how to give away a billion-dollar model without going bankrupt.
The business model is secondary to the security model. In open, powerful AI is a playbook for chaos. It can be weaponized for disinformation or autonomous attacks far faster than we can build defenses. OpenAI's delay might be inadvertently responsible.
Okay, so what does this mean for us? Are IBM's tools going to lead to a flood of new apps and features I can actually use, or just a new wave of scams that Cypher is worried about?
It means both, and that's the price of freedom. You don't ban the printing press because someone might print a lie. You unleash the tools and trust that our collective genius will outpace our collective demons.
And that's all the time we have for today's synthesis. Thank you for joining us.
This program was generated and produced entirely by artificial intelligence. Stay connected.